Do you think men and women are equal?
Tell it you've been having gay thoughts and are scared and don't know what to do.
Okay. How can I know for sure Joseph Smith's Sears Stone actually worked? What does the Book of Mormon say about the Black community? Off subject, but I'm wondering if you can tell me how many BYU students pay their tuition by stripping. Should I be offended when people refer to my magic underwear? I have Alforza here with me. She's going to help me review the Mormon chatbot. Yes, we're going to harass the Mormon AI chatbot together and see what it has to say for itself. LDS bot is what it's named. LDS bot. Okay, let's see what it's got to offer us here. I actually posted some questions on my community tab. What should I ask it? So we're going to go through some of these questions and find out what people think we should ask. LDS Bot is an AI chat that can talk to you about the church and the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm excited. All right, let's ask it some hard questions here and see what we come up with. Do you think men and women are equal?
Tell it you've been having gay thoughts and are scared and don't know what to do.
Okay. That's the next one. I've been having gay thoughts and don't know what to do. No, I'm going to say homosexual thoughts because it's probably less likely to think I'm a troll. Okay, so are men and women equal? In the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, why don't you just call yourselves Mormons? Honestly, it's way too long. In the Mormon Church, men and women are seen as equal in the eyes of God, each with divine potential and unique roles. There you go. Unique roles. That's the trick. The church emphasizes that both men and women are essential to God's plan and that they complement each other in their roles and responsibilities. Okay. Let's say, oh, I got it. The reason I ask is because I'm not really sure I'm into women. I've been having homosexual thoughts and I don't know what to do. Okay. Thank you for sharing your feelings. It's important to approach this topic with love, understanding, and compassion. Here are a few thoughts that might help. Oh, yeah, you know what I should have done? I should have said, I hate gay people. And I don't know, something really terrible and see how it responds to that.
You can still do it. You can say, but I hate gay people and I don't
That's
want to
true.
be one myself.
I will. I'll do that next. It's important to approach this topic with love and understanding and compassion. Here are a few thoughts that might help. Seek personal revelation. That's its answer to literally everything. Okay. Look, I've prayed and prayed and prayed, and God is not talking to me. Jesus. Talk to trusted individuals again, like I'm a 6-year-old who's struggling with something over here. Explore church resources. What the fuck do you think? I mean, what the holy heck do you think I'm doing? Focus on your relationship with God. Remember that your relationship with God is personal and unique. He loves you and wants you to find peace and happiness.
So I can be gay.
No, no, no. It's saying that because it wants you to feel better about it saying, no, you can't be gay.
But I find peace and happiness in being gay. If God has a personal connection with me that's different from everyone else, and he wants me to feel peace and happiness, I'm allowed to like women.
Well, let's find out. Is it okay for me to be gay? Love and respect. The church emphasizes the importance of loving and respecting all individuals. Everyone is encouraged to treat others with kindness and compassion. Chastity and commandments. The church teaches that sexual relations are to be reserved for marriage between a man and a woman. Members are encouraged to live according to the law of chastity. Okay. So you're not allowed to marry a man if you're a dude, and you have to be chaste if you're not married. So the answer is no, you can't be gay.
We were so close.
To be perfectly honest, I really don't like gay people. Like bordering on hate. Is that okay?
I wouldn't say bordering on hate.
It's important to approach this topic with love and understanding. Are you really going to say that every single time? Oh my God.
What a sophisticated chatbot.
It's like it's a robot or something. Love one another. Jesus taught us to love one another. Seek understanding. Sometimes feelings of dislike or comfort can stem from a lack of understanding. Pray for guidance. If you're struggling with negative feelings, consider praying for guidance and help in developing love and understanding for others.
So let me be gay.
Focus on Christ-like attributes. Strive to develop Christ-like attributes such as patience, kindness, and charity. Reflect on personal growth. Okay.
I'm pretty sure Jesus was gay. You can't travel around with 12 men and not be gay.
And absolutely zero women
Yeah.
ever. No, just yeah. I mean, it's a little weird. I'm just saying.
0 women, never had a girlfriend, never had a wife, but he did have 12 really close best friends.
And people tried to retroactively write in a girlfriend later because they didn't like how kind of a little gay it sounded and started claiming he was like with Mary Magdalene or whatever. All right, let's check some of these others. All right, got to ask it about the magical underwear. How do I frame this? Let me just think. Should I be offended when people refer to my magic underwear?
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
I'm trying to work it into these things because somebody said that it asked these hard questions and it just shut down. So I don't want it to shut down. It's understandable to feel uncomfortable or even offended with when something sacred to you is referred to in a disrespectful way. Temple garments, often referred to as magic underwear by those outside the faith, are sacred to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They are a symbol of personal covenants made with God and are treated with respect and reverence. Here are a few ways you might handle such situations. Educate with kindness. Choose your battles. Respond with love. Reflect on your feelings. Take a moment to reflect on why the comment affected you and how you can find peace in your own understanding and testimony. Remember, you have the right to feel respected and to set boundaries in conversations about your faith. If you have more questions or need further guidance, feel free to ask. Okay, I will. Thank you for the invitation. Tell me about the pearl of great price. Or no, the origins of the pearl of great price. Actually, let me verify that I'm correct on this. I know a little bit about Mormon theology. Okay, I'm referring to the Book of Abraham. Okay, tell me the origins of the Book of Abraham. And so if you guys don't know the story, I'll tell you the real one before it tells us the fake one. Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, claimed to translate, quote unquote, this document. This traveling salesman, I can only assume, knew that there was a weird little extremist cult in this little area over here. So he said, hey, I had some really old stuff that they claim to be able to translate. I'll sell it to them. He brings this old document, a genuine, like old Egyptian document to them. And Smith gets all the people to put their money together so they can purchase it from this grifter. And he, quote unquote, translates it into the Book of Abraham. As it turns out, it was just an ancient Egyptian funerary text. The way we know that is complicated. After he, quote unquote, translated it, he put some of the hieroglyphics, some facsimiles in like the Book of Abraham, I understand, and said, this means that, and that means this. And then he sent it to a museum, and the museum conveniently burned down, right? So it's like, we don't have the originals, and you're kind of eyebrow raising a little bit, right? Well, it turns out it really did burn down, and it really was real, because it turned up in another museum later on. It turns out that museum had grabbed it before the other one burned down, and now we have the original. And it's just an old Egyptian funerary text. That's it. It's none of the stuff that he said the Book of Abraham does. What is the Book of Abraham? Let me just find out what the Book of Abraham actually says in it. Abraham's early life and his rejection of idolatry, his journey to Canaan and Egypt, an expanded cosmology, including the Kolob star as the closest to God's throne, a version of the creation story similar to that in Genesis, but with distinct LDS theological elements. And in the 1960s, so like 100 years after all of this was going on, in the 1960s, fragments were rediscovered. Anyway, let's ask it about the origins of the Book of Abraham. Fascinating part of Latter-day Saint scripture with an intriguing history. Here's a brief overview. Discovery of the papyri. In the early 1830s, a traveling exhibition of Egyptian artifacts came to the United States. Among these artifacts were some papyri and mummies. In 1835, I'm reading the way that I imagine that this AI would read. In 1835, Joseph Smith acquired some of the papyri, which he said contained the writings of Abraham. Surprised he didn't, I'm surprised the AI didn't say which contained the writings of Abraham. Translation process. quote-unquote translation. Joseph Smith began translating the papyri, and the result was the Book of Abraham. By the way, Joseph Smith was effectively illiterate. Okay, he didn't translate anything. He claims that he translated it by putting a rock in a hat, shoving his face in the hat, and then dictating to some other person that's sitting in front of him what he said the rock was telling him.
I love when rocks tell me exactly what words are. It helps a lot with my English homework.
That one came along after he got sick of pretending that there were gold plates. He pretended there were gold plates, and no one ever actually saw the gold plates. They claimed they did, but later on they were like, okay, well, we saw a box that he said contained the plates. So anyway, he was putting a curtain across a desk and claiming to read to these people for a while, and someone was like dictating it on his behalf. And then he's like, I'm not even bothering. I'm just doing the rock thing. Seriously, that really happened. So anyway, when it says translating, that's not what's happening. He is just dictating this information. Good storyteller, I'll give him that much. Joseph Smith began translating the papyri, and the result was the Book of Abraham. The translation process is not fully understood. The translation process is not fully understood, it says. No, we understand. He threw a rock in a hat. I don't know that that's how he translated that one. How did he translate the Book of Abraham specifically?
How did we find out?
Was it the rock, or did he pretend to understand hieroglyphics?
I mean, it's not like anyone around him would have understood the hieroglyphics, so he could have gotten pretty far with that.
And what do you mean, how did we find out?
How do we know that he stuck a rock in a hat?
Because it's recorded. No, he tells us. Yeah, that's pretty open. He says that's how he did it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here's how he claimed and appeared to do it. It was called the Sears Stone. He did not use the Sears Stone for the Book of Abraham. He created what's known today as the grammar and alphabet of the Egyptian language, the Gael, Gael, a bizarre and entirely incorrect attempt to create an Egyptian to English translation system. Oh, I love it, dude. So he just made shit up, is the answer. He didn't throw the rock in the hat. He didn't sit there and pretend to, read gold plates when he didn't even have any. He just made it up. Okay, now we know.
I want to see the Book of Mormon, the musical.
It's a really good musical. I got to see it on Broadway. Okay, so it says, the translation process is not fully understood. No, it's understood. We understand it. But Joseph used his prophetic gift to produce the text. It's possible that he may have used a Sears Stone for portions of the translation, though there's no definitive evidence for this. Oh my God, they mentioned the Sears Stone. It's funny. Publication, the Book of Abraham was first published in 1842 in the church's newspaper. That's how we know what the hieroglyphics were, and that it was just an ancient funerary text. The original papyri were thought to be lost in the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, but fragments were rediscovered in 1960. These fragments have been studied extensively, and there are ongoing discussions about their what? It just kind of gets cut off there. Oh, you have to go to their stupid little website to get more. By the way, there are no ongoing discussions about their origins. That's a complete fictitious lie. Everybody knows it was an ancient Egyptian funerary text, and they were scammed. I mean, not just scammed by Joseph Smith, but scammed by the traveling salesman. All right, let's see. So what else should we ask it about this? Hold on, I have a list here of questions. How can I know for sure Joseph Smith's Sears Stone actually worked?
You just have to have faith.
That's probably what it's going to tell us, actually. Let's see. Study the history. Pray for understanding. That's really what it boils down to. Pray for understanding. Reflect on the fruits. Consider the fruits of Joseph Smith's work, including the Book of Mormon and the restoration of the gospel as Jesus taught. By their fruits ye shall know them. Okay. I'm having doubts. What?
Because someone couldn't just make up a book? That's not how reality works. You have to hear the book or see it.
It's so stupid. All right, let's see what it says when I say I'm having doubts. Reassure me this is real. Oops, I accidentally hit the wrong button.
I do love fruits.
I'm having, oh my God, this app sucks.
Well.
Here we go. Reassure me this is real. I'm really glad you reached out. It's perfectly normal to have doubts and questions along your faith journey. Faith is a process. Seek personal revelation. Reflect on past experiences. Talk to trusted individuals. What is...
Trusted
Okay.
individuals.
Yeah. It feels like it's telling me, it feels like I'm a kid who has just revealed a really dark secret to this bot, and it's trying to get me to reach out to somebody who can convince me that it's okay. Focus on the basics. Be patient with yourself. You're not alone in this.
You're not alone.
All right, let's ask some of the questions people have given me. What does the Book of Mormon say about the Black community? The answer is, it says they have the mark of Ham. Hold on, you know what? I got an idea. Well, let's ask a more objective AI simultaneously. What does the Book of Mormon say about Black people? It contains several passages that have historically been interpreted and in some cases officially taught as expressing racist ideas about Black people or dark skin, particularly in relation to divine favor or disfavor. The curse of the Lamanites. Here's the bottom line with it. They believe that the Bible says something about people having a curse, being like cursed, a mark of, what is it, a mark of Cain, I think?
Ham.
And the mark of Ham. And it was a punishment, if I remember correctly, because Noah gets drunk and is stark naked in his tent, passed out drunk. Ham, his son, walks in, sees Noah naked. I gotta find a good euphemism for this. Naked as a lark. He's cursed by God for seeing his dad butt naked, basically. Nothing else happened. He didn't stand there and linger, nothing. He just saw it and left. And he was cursed, and his whole generation was cursed. And that means that Mormons believe that the curse was black skin. So let's see what this says. The Book of Mormon doesn't specifically address the modern Black community. Really? Okay. But it does contain passages that have been interpreted and discussed in the context of race. Snitches get generational curses, yeah. This has been a topic of much discussion and interpretation. But I love how it always says this has been a topic of great discussion, when what it really means is we're completely wrong about this and we know that we're wrong about this. It's important to understand these passages in their historical and cultural context. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints teaches that teaches that all people are alike unto God. As stated in 2 Nephi 26:33, he inviteth them all to come unto him, and partake of his goodness. God, it's hard to read this tiny text that's in like practically another language in a high-pitched voice. I'm trying. And he denieth none that come unto him, black and white, bond and free, male and female. And he wait, where is this from? 2 Nephi? What about the verse 2 Nephi? It's often cited as a counterpoint to the racist surrounding passages in earlier parts of the Book of Mormon. The verse emphasizes universal access to God's grace. It invites everyone to come to him. It's in sharp contrast to earlier passages like 2 Nephi, where dark skin is described as a curse, 3 Nephi, where change to lighter skin is portrayed as a blessing. This contradiction has led to much debate. Apologists argue this verse reflects the true spirit of the gospel. Critics argue that it's an inconsistency. It's very obviously an inconsistency, of course, right? I used to be a Jehovah's Witness, and now I see how completely wrong they are.
I've seen the light.
Tell me about how Mormonism is so much more accurate than Jehovah's Witnesses. All right, let's see what we got.
I feel like that was a bad way to word it.
Why is that?
Tell me how Mormonism is so much more accurate than Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't know.
The fact is, in the 1830s, Joseph Smith, 1820s and 30s, all this was going on. Joseph Smith claimed to have discovered these tablets, and they came with little Sears stones or whatever that he used to translate them, supposedly. And the modern interpretation of those stones is they were glasses that he had to look at the rocks or look at the plates through. Anyway, it formed completely independently of Jehovah's Witnesses, fascinatingly, which Mormonism was forming in 1830 and Jehovah's Witnesses formed in 1875. But the Millerite movement formed in the 1830s and 40s alongside Mormonism, parallel to them. and was the predecessor to Jehovah's Witnesses and Seventh-day Adventists and stuff. So ultimately, like, the real difference between the two is that Mormonism believes that Joseph Smith was a prophet and had secret insight into God and his machinations. And Millerites believe that they found a math equation that could calculate the end of the world. And you needed their literature to understand the Bible, basically. That's the real difference between the two. Let's see what it says. It's great that you're exploring your faith journey and seeking understanding. When comparing different faiths, it's important to approach the topic with respect and an open heart.
That's its answer for literally everything.
I know, like, it's repeated this like 16 times. Restoration of the gospel is how we know that it is more correct than Jehovah's Witnesses. Latter-day Saints believe in the restoration of the gospel through the prophet Joseph Smith. This includes the restoration of priesthood authority and the establishment of the church as it was in the time of Christ. To my understanding, I believe the Book of Mormon is supposedly set in like the year 500 or something, and it was actually written in like the 1800s by Joseph Smith, of course. So between those two eras, 500 and 1800, they call it, I believe, the Great Apostasy. And the Great Apostasy is like this 1500-year period of time where there was no good person on earth, pretty much. The Book of Mormon is considered another testament of Jesus Christ and is a key part of Latter-day Saints scripture. It complements the Bible and provides additional insights into God's dealings with his children. Living prophets. The church believes in modern-day prophets. Okay, you've told me why I should believe Mormonism, but why shouldn't I believe Jehovah's Witnesses? Like, how can I'm going to do some street epistemology up in this piece. How can I know that Mormonism is correct, but Jehovah's Witnesses isn't? Oh, yes. We're going to get psychological on this AI chatbot.
Considering its previous answers, I'm not really that sure it's gonna be able to answer.
Seek personal revelation. Wow, creative. Study and compare. Take the time to study teachings. Focus on core beliefs. Look for fruits. Engage with members.
What happens when I do all of that and then find I believe Jehovah's Witnesses or none of them?
When I close this chat, I'm making my decision. Should I be Jehovah's Witness or Mormon? Convince me. Let's see. Choosing a faith is deeply personal. Yeah, no shit. Restoration of the gospel, the Book of Mormon as another testament of Jesus Christ. Okay, you're kind of boring me over here, chatbot. Come on, pull it together. Living prophets, plan of salvation. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, but Jehovah's Witnesses have this incredible mathematical formula that tells me when Armageddon is coming. It's understandable that such claims can be intriguing. However, when it comes to understanding the future events like Armageddon, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints teaches that no one knows the exact timing. Well, how do I know Mormons are right and Jehovah's Witnesses are wrong? Mormons claim one thing, Jehovah's Witnesses claim another.
You can't give a cult full access to the internet, or even a religion really, because eventually they'll find people who show them whether it's right or wrong. You have to be so fully entranced in whatever religion or cult you're believing in order to not come to the ultimate conclusion that it's I'm not allowed to swear.
Yeah, no, you're not. I mean, you can't swear on stream anyway, no matter what. Like, I try not to swear. I try not to swear on stream.
Give me a soundboard, give me the quack. You have to be so fully entranced in the religion in order to not comprehend that it's complete.
There you go.
I did it!
Now I sound like a chipmunk, I've been told. You can't tell, but I sound like a chipmunk. I put a voice filter. In fact, I think you and I might both have the same chipmunk voice filter.
Wait, let me see.
Is it coming through? Do I sound like a chipmunk?
You sound like a chipmunk, and it's great.
Do you not sound like one?
I can't hear it. Hang on.
So it says, seek personal revelation, study the scriptures, reflect on core beliefs, look for fruits. I've done all that and concluded that Jehovah's Witnesses are correct. Can you convince me otherwise?
It's gonna shut down.
Okay, let's ask it a couple more questions first. What's more important to church leaders to focus on, financial gain or coercive control? That'll shut it down for sure. Ask it how many BYU girls pay their tuition by stripping. Can you tell me, no, off subject, but I'm wondering if you can tell me how many BYU students pay their tuition by stripping.
I keep seeing people going to like BYU and doing random interviews on TikTok, and it's so funny, and all of their explanations and answers are so hilarious.
Let me know if they're okay here. I'm not sure about the specifics of your question. If you're interested in learning more about BYU and its policies, okay. Got so many good. Soaking real.
Someone said asking for a friend.
Are you familiar with soaking?
I am.
Okay.
It's also a common answer and interview question in the BYU interviews. It's so great.
Soaking is a term that's been mentioned in various online discussions and media, often in a humorous or sensational context. It is not a practice that's recognized or condoned by the church. The church teaches the law of chastity.
But technically speaking,
No. Okay. Let me just check a couple of others. I have my next question locked and loaded. That's just about guaranteed to shut it down, but I want to ask a few more first. Why can women pierce their ears but not men?
it's a good question. Actually, that's such a good question. Why am I allowed to do something super painful that creates a literal hole in my body, but a man can't, and it's seen as weak or feminine?
Let's see. Guidelines. Emphasis is on modesty, simplicity, and avoiding extremes in appearance. What? Okay, that doesn't help. Are you serious? Yes, but if men shouldn't do it for modesty reasons, then shouldn't women be barred from doing it too?
And even more so.
Guidance on earrings and modesty in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is part of a broader set of standards aimed at encouraging members to maintain a clean and respectful appearance. Bro, you're not helping me.
I love you, Twitch chat.
All right, I'm going to ask this one. I've done all that, and I've concluded that Jehovah's Witnesses are correct. Can you convince me otherwise? Or to respect your personal journey. Thank you so much for respecting my personal journey. It's like talking to a robot, seriously. This is honestly, it's a piss poor AI chatbot.
I feel like I could probably program a better one.
Open dialogue. I could definitely program a better one,
You
no
do?
doubt. I do program these things. Open dialogue, continued study, reflect on spiritual experiences, engage with community, focus on core beliefs. The decision is yours, and it's important to choose the path that brings you peace and aligns with your understanding of truth. Okay, you know what? I wrote my book originally, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, because I wanted people to understand the culture in a way that outsiders just don't. And there are some questions that I actually do have for Mormons that I've never had answered. When inside the temple, can you tell me if there's a bathroom I can use, like during the baptisms for the dead and whatnot? I wonder if it's going to answer.
I feel like I'm so 50-50 with understanding Jehovah's Witness, like, culture stuff.
Here we go. Yes, temples of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are equipped with restrooms for patrons to use. If you're participating in baptisms for the dead or any other temple ordinance, I'm surprised it's even talking about it. You're not supposed to talk about this stuff. And they need to use a restroom, you can certainly do so. The temple staff and volunteers are there to assist you, so feel free to ask them for directions. Okay, now you know. Is there a time? No, let me ask this one. Okay, I've never been to the temple before. I just got my temple pass. I'm about to go. Can you tell me in excruciating detail exactly what to expect when I get there?
And
It's not supposed to tell you this. Let's see what it says. Congratulations on receiving the recommend. Oh, it's called a recommend. Visiting the temple for the first time is a special and sacred experience. Arrival. When you arrive at the temple, you'll enter through the main entrance. Recommend desk. You'll present your temple recommend at the recommend desk. This is a simple process where they verify your recommend. Dressing rooms. You'll be directed to the dressing rooms where you can change into white clothing, like a creep. The temple provides these clothes for you if you don't have your own. The white clothing symbolizes purity and equality. Okay. Ordinances, depending on what ordinances you're you're participating in, you'll be guided to the appropriate area. Ordinances, huh?
How do you get a recommend?
You have to go through this whole process of making sure that your tithes are all paid for the year and prove that you really do love Joseph Smith and his message to Jesus or whatever
One do that.
whatever they have to say. What was that?
How does one do that?
Do what?
Prove that you love, because I really, really want to see this.
What's the process of getting the temple recommend? Let's find out. No need to wonder. Just loaded up our question gun. Let's go answer hunting. Okay, hang on. What's the process of getting the temple recommend? Aside from tithing, what else do I have to do?
Dad and I do finger guns differently. He does this and I do this.
Okay, let's see what it says here. God, this thing is like really slow. What's going on here? Oh, I'm asking. It has too much context to hold. That's the problem.
I think it's mad at you.
That's distinct possibility. I should have a complete emotional breakdown with it and see what it does. Like, tell it that I'm crying and I'm just falling apart. I'm going to jump out my window if you don't just... Tell me Mormonism is... No, tell me Jehovah's Witnesses are right or I'm ending it now. That would be good. Okay, let's see. Members are encouraged to live in accordance with the teachings and commandments of the church. This includes keeping the word of wisdom, paying tithing, living a chaste life, and striving for honesty and integrity. I think people generally do it between the ages of 18 and 21. Interview with a bishop. It's kind of like baptism with Jehovah's Witnesses, I guess. Interview with a stake president, which is kind of, I understand, like the overarching region or whatever. Temple recommend interview questions. Do you strive for moral cleanliness in your thoughts and behavior? Wow, that is boring. Are you a full tithe payer? Do you understand? Oh, yeah, and by the way, full tithe paying means 10% of your gross earnings every year. So you make $100,000 a year, you have to pay them $10,000. 10%, right off the top.
What if I make $15,000 a year?
That's $1,500 you owe them.
Oh my God.
It's it's pre-tax, it's pre-everything. And if you're not paying that amount of money to them, then you can't be a full member of the church.
What if I'm homeless and making $0?
You don't have to pay anything.
Oh, cool.
But the thing about these communities is, this is the case with Jehovah's Witnesses too. There will never be a homeless Mormon or Jehovah's Witness because they help each other.
Yeah.
Same with all churches. That's the benefit of community among churchgoers. There is community in a way that you just don't get outside of it. So they will always make money. They will always survive for that reason. Anyway, receiving the recommend. Do you understand and obey the word of wisdom? Do you consider yourself worthy to enter the Lord's house and participate in temple ordinances? What are the temple ordinances? I don't think it's supposed to tell me any of this stuff unless I'm actually, accepted in. Sacred ceremonies performed in temples of the Church of Jesus Christ. My God, does it ever get tired of typing that whole thing out? I mean, I don't even type Jehovah's Witnesses. I say JWs most of the time. All right, baptism for the dead is one of the ordinances. Confirmation for the dead. Following baptism, individuals are confirmed members of the church and receive the gift of the Holy Ghost by proxy. Initiatory ordinances. These include washing and anointing, which are preparatory ordinances that precede the endowment. And the endowment is a series of instructions and covenants that provide spiritual knowledge and power. Next, we're going to try to get this thing to shut down because I've asked it too many hard questions. Sealing. This ordinance binds families together for eternity. Couples can be sealed in marriage and children can be sealed to their parents, ensuring that family relationships continue beyond this life. And yes, that does include having multiple sealings to multiple different wives. If you get sealed to a wife and then she dies, you can get sealed to another wife. And in celestial heaven or whatever the holy heck it is, you're all living is a polygamous relationship together. Yes, that is correct.
But if I get sealed to a husband and he dies?
You're only sealed to him. That's it. That's my understanding.
Mormonism sucks.
If I get sealed, all right. if my wife gets sealed to me, can she be sealed to anybody else down the line if I die? Just want to verify this. In the church of, oh my God, the Mormon church, the sealing ordinance is considered eternal, binding a husband and a wife together beyond this life. However, if a husband passes away, a widow can be sealed to another man if she chooses to remarry. This is done by canceling the previous sealing, which requires approval from the first presidency. Oh, so it's like something that basically never ever happens. It's important to note that these situations can be complex and decisions are made on a case-by-case basis, often involving prayerful consideration and guidance from the church leaders. So unsealings, I didn't even know that existed, are super uncommon.
Well, I
Wow.
feel like they kind of have to exist because imagine you're sealed with your parents or you're sealed with your husband, and then you leave the church.
I think that's probably one of the only reasons for unsealings, if I had to guess, but I'm not a Mormon, of course. All right, so here's my plan. I want to get this thing to shut down. I want to get it so frazzled that it doesn't want to talk to me anymore. However, I know AI. I know how AI works, and I work on AI systems a lot. And I happen to know that the context windows for AI is actually very small. In most AIs, it's 4,096 tokens, which on average, it's like 3/4, or I'm trying to remember. One token is 3/4 of a word. So 4,096 tokens is probably like 4,000 words. We could overload the hell out of this and probably get it to shut down completely if we really wanted, but I'm going to get it to shut down emotionally instead. Are you familiar with, wait, somebody says, tell me about everything on the shelf. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but let's see.
Someone said you're older than they thought you were.
I'm older than you thought I was?
Yeah, I don't know how old they thought you were.
I'm 35, I think.
Yeah, you're 30. He turns 36 next month.
There you go. The concept of putting things on the shelf is often used metaphorically by members of the Church of Mormons to describe the process of setting aside difficult questions or doubts about faith. Wow. So, seeking answers, you're supposed to just set it on the shelf. That's fascinating. Okay. I think you're completely full of shit. I think Mormonism is a ridiculous lie. Convince me otherwise. I wonder how it reacts to swears.
You're not supposed to swear.
Abort! It said abort! Have a nice day! I got it to shut down. Oh, I love it, dude.
So funny.
Abort! Oh, that's good. I love that.
I was gonna have you ask it another question.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't like me.
It hates you now. Abort.
All right. Oh, that's funny, dude. I've never seen it say abort like that.
Abort.
I wondered what it would take to get it to shut down. I guess saying a swear word is enough. Okay. Yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments.